shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill below, the crooked straight, and the rough places plain, the crooked straight, and the rough places plain, and the rough places plain. Every valley shall be exalted, every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill below, the crooked straight, and the rough places plain, and the rough places plain, and the rough places plain. The crooked straight, and the rough places plain.
Alleluia, Cheers, everyone. Welcome to Solistina's 38th Happy Hour. I am Kevin Kumar. I'm the co-founder and co-director of Solistina. And thank you so much for joining us during the holidays. Before we get started, many of you have asked after Maya's daughter, Naomi. For those of you who may not know, Naomi had to have a pretty major surgery that took place yesterday, and Sunday or yesterday, and Maya actually got on just briefly before the happy hour started, and everything is going well. The surgery was successful. She really appreciates all of your support. She's with Naomi right now in the ICU, and they're going to remain there for a couple of days. And she will try to get on to say hello later. But she just wanted to reassure all of you, and thank you for asking after her too. So usually around this time of the year, Solistina will have a New Year's Eve party, and this is a members event. Solistina has a membership program. Many of you are part of it, and members are invited to these complimentary exclusive events, including this New Year's Eve party where we usually get together with the resident artists and some of our professional colleagues, and we read chamber music together and generally make merry. And clearly we can't do that now. So our resident violist, Meredith Crawford, suggested that instead we have a hygge party, and I'm sure I totally butchered that. So I'm going to ask Brian Lauritsen if he can give a brief definition of hygge for me.
It's the word of my people. It is actually both a Danish and a Norwegian word, and those are both my people. I did my DNA ancestry test, and there's I thought it was mostly Norwegian, but there's almost as much Danish, Northern European in there as there is Norwegian. So
nice.
Hygge is really, really correct pronunciation. If I can share my screen, Marissa, I will actually allow the video to do the defining here.
Ah.
I'll just share this guy right here. And
okay.
I have to share sound as well. I'm a technological professional. Can you see my screen at this point?
Yes, we can.
Okay, here she goes.
It's pronounced hygge, and if you look it up in the dictionary, it says something like good social atmosphere, coziness, and I'm going to try to find out what it actually is.
Good social atmosphere, coziness. That's kind of a full definition, but then I went to Oxford English Dictionary. A quality of coziness and comfortable conviviality that engenders a feeling of contentment or well-being. And it is regarded as a defining characteristic of specifically Danish culture more than Norwegian culture.
I see. And that kind of explains why we are wearing these clothes. In case this is your first time at a Solistina event, we don't usually wear pajamas, at least on top, maybe on the bottom. But we have during the holidays we sometimes do a Vivaldi Four Seasons concert, and we always use the hygge definition when we play the slow movement of Winter of Vivaldi, and it's the idea when it's like really cold outside and it's stormy or it's snowing or something, and you're inside and you're toasty and cozy and warm and you're with loved ones. That's hygge. Okay, so but before we descend into hygge, we wanted to get all the bad juju out from this past year, all the bad energy. We wanted to just kick it in the butt and start with something more positive to bring in the new year. And this is a really astounding performance by our resident pianist, Hyejin Kim. And we had asked her mentor, Fabio Bedini, who is here with us today, and he was a happy hour guest. He's a absolutely world-class pianist, a wonderful artist, and he's the one who actually shot this video and captured the audio. So you should, if you want to listen to it in all its glory, listen and watch it in, like, you know, the way it was meant to be seen. You should go onto YouTube Live to watch this. As we play it, we will post the instructions in the chat. Marissa has already done that. Or you can stay here in Zoom and listen, but we really encourage you to go to YouTube Live.
Amazing.
That was incredible. So I wanted to invite Fabio is here, as I mentioned, and the idea when we asked Fabio to shoot this video was that, we've been thinking about what kind of content that we want to release as far as, having these kinds of music videos. And, people are doing all kinds of things, and we thought that it would make sense to ask somebody who knows Hyejin so well, and also somebody who knows the piano extremely well too, to give us their idea of what, what should a video look like in this case. And so I want to invite Fabio to unmute yourself if you can. Let's see. And first of all, thank you so much. I don't think maybe a lot of people know what's involved with shooting a video like this and capturing audio, but maybe you can talk about your approach to this, and also what actually went into producing the video, and any other thoughts you might have about it too.
First of all, thank you for having me here, and thank you for having me asked to do this. Of course, as you know, this is not my job, so I'll try to do my very best. I'm a freak. I love to do this kind of things. I like to do videos, audio recordings. I'm recording for Naxos now, my students, and I believe that for a musician, it's very important to understand what's behind any kind of recording on a professional level, audio and or video. And I don't think that any other sound technician, although of course technically they can have better material, they can do things in a better way, they can look better, the quality of the format is maybe a little bit more perfect, maybe the sound is better, I don't know, but if you have good material and you know the music and you know what to expect from the music, it actually is very important that a musician can actually do that for other musicians. That is very important. Mm-hmm. That's my point of view. In my life, I experienced great technicians, and at the very end, once they gave me the master, either only audio or also video, a good 90% of the times I never gave the permission for releasing.
Wow.
Then, unfortunately, many things are pirate outside in the planet. They got out in any case, but this is not my my choice. For what concerns this video, 6 cameras are involved, 4 microphones, soundboards, monitors, speakers, headphones. Material is about $35,000 material that I brought in the hall, and based on what the hall can give, or the quality also of the piano that can give, there is a choice of microphone, choice of cameras, choice of lights. I showed up also with professional lights, and of course I was not by myself. I had a person that helped me. It took about 3 hours to mount all the material, and about 2 hours to unmount. It takes always less to take it away because you are not so careful any longer, also because you are tired at the end of the day. Actually, the shortest time it took to actually the recording itself. Once you have a person that plays so well and is ready and it's done, once I did my job at home, in other words, I prepared the lights, I already know what I want to see or what I want to hear, then the actual recording time in itself is not so long. It takes 2-3 hours to record, and you say, but why 2-3 hours? It's a 6 minutes piece. Well, there are many things that needs to be done. First of all, you want to be perfect in the audio portion. You want to make absolutely sure that all the cameras and all the angles are what you actually want. So the pianist needs to play it as many times as it's needed. And then the post-production is actually the one that takes much more time than the actual recording day.
Right.
Because the post-production, you have edits to do the edits for the audio. There is that note, I wasn't very happy. Okay, let's take it from another take. Let's take it from this other performance. Let's take it from here to there. So it's a kind of puzzle that we mix it like that. No one hears it, of course. And then for the video, you do exactly the same thing. And it does take time. When you produce also a video like this is in a high definition. It takes for 6 minutes time, and I do have a quite fast computer. It takes about 2 hours rendering only the video, and then I need to compress it. I need to do another rendering to make sure that you can possibly receive it via email or via internet, because 6 minutes of music like this are about 60 gigabytes,
Right.
and I can't send you 60 gigabytes. So I need to compress it up to 1 gigabyte, 1.5 gigabyte, and that is another 3-4 hours process. So it takes pretty much all night to do stuff like that.
And you traveled all the way to Europe to go to a special hall to capture this video, right?
Almost. No, it was in Pasadena, in the hall of the Conservatory in Pasadena, which is a very nice little cute hall, and we try to do our best with the space. That what was very helpful is the vertical space that the hall has, and that was very helpful. Of course, it would have been a little bit more useful for my idea in theory if the actual natural light wouldn't come inside the hall, although it, of course, is more beautiful like this. But it would have been nicer to have a hall without windows, so you could manage the lights the way you wanted to completely. But in this case, I couldn't do it because I can't tell the sun, please shut off the light. So it simply doesn't listen to me. So I needed to work with what I had to, which I had needed to be careful of shadows, I needed to be careful of reflections, I needed to be careful of many things. So based on the sunlight, and during the day, on 2 or 3 hours time recording, the light changes in the hall, so you need to do the adjustments in order to have the 6-7 minutes video pretty much with the same
Right.
luminosity.
Right.
You are seeing 6 minutes, but I was there for 3 hours to record these 6 minutes, so the light is different. So I have to be careful about that. And sometimes you are very lucky, some other times you're a little bit less, but
Yeah. Well, I just, as you're talking about diving into the technical aspects of basically presenting a performance, it just reminded me a lot of what Solestina does actually too, because, you were just talking about musicians need to be the ones who know how to capture and present other musicians, in this format. And that's exactly how we feel too, but, like for live concerts.
absolutely. Otherwise, we feel completely alone, and the sound technician comes to you and he says, this is a fantastic video. And then you say, and especially the piano, I mean, the pianist can't really move much. We have a bench, we are seated, and we need to do what piano can be very boring. To watch an hour and a half recital can be very boring. So we need to catch the attention through the piece, through the pianist, and we need to try to amplify the message of the music also visually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so this was a Steinway B piano, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
But somehow the way you captured it, it sounds like a concert, like a D. So thank you so much for all of the work that you put into this video.
Thank you for letting me do it.
No, it's really we're the ones who are grateful, and we're planning on releasing one video each week for the next 3 weeks, because Hyejin also recorded a Chopin Nocturne and also a Brahms Intermezzo. So we will release those once every week. Tomorrow will be the official release, I believe, of this Heroic Polonaise. So thank you, Fabio, so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so our resident artists are all here. Yoshi, are you joining us from Japan?
Yes, I am still. Thus, I don't have any holiday clothing. Sorry about that.
So what time is it there?
It's 11:29 a.m. on
Oh.
Wednesday, the 30th.
Oh, okay. I was gonna give you mad props for being here at like in the middle of the night, but never mind. So the answer to the usually we don't answer the trivia question until much later in the hour, but the answer to the trivia question, Yoshi does not go and take a polar dip every year, as far as I know. Is that something you do, Yoshi?
So,
Do you have any holiday traditions that you regularly observe?
honestly, I'm always in LA, and I'm never rarely with family. So I often just go to whoever is kind enough to invite me over to their house for Christmas dinner.
Okay, so your tradition is mooching off of other people. I get it. Okay.
Exactly. Same with Thanksgiving.
Do you have a toast you want to give for this time, holiday time?
A toast?
Yes, a toast. There was an email that went out, Yoshi.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
I mean, a toast, honestly, to this community. I like to, and to actually, even as a resident artist, to just sort of say how proud and happy I am to be a part of this family, and it's just for me, it's what I think one of the things that kept me going, during crazy year. I'm sure it's the same for everybody.
Cheers.
So cheers to that. Palestina 2021 and onwards.
All right. And do you happen to have a piece of musical hygge you'd like to share with us?
Can you come back to me about that?
I sure can. Okay. Moving on to our artistic partner and resident hygge specialist, according to his title there, Brian Lauritsen.
It's a new distinction.
I like it.
Recent development.
So I don't know if you noticed in the trivia question, but Brian has elaborate traditions that he follows. And I was curious about one of them. What's the moratorium on personal spending? What's that about?
It's, come November, if you buy something for yourself, you're taking away the opportunity for someone to purchase a gift for you for the holiday season. And this particularly applies to purchases like under $50. Like, you're really ruining it for other people if you go out and buy yourself something cheap but that you need. So instead of buying it, you just tell everyone, this is what I want. Actually, you have to target you can't tell everybody that you want a certain thing, because then you got to coordinate. So.
Okay. And also your annual sushi party. So how did that come about?
That's actually a friend of ours who I believe she grew up in Yokohama, and her dad is a really incredible cook and knows all of the right ways to cut the fish, all of the correct traditions. And so he was trying to pass that on to his daughter. This is our friend, her name is Lisa. And so she said, I'd like to start a New Year's Eve sushi party, but my apartment is really small. Can we have it at your house? And we said, sure, of course. And so she learned all of the various steps for all of the different elaborate preparation, how to perfectly make the tamago, and just the right slicing. And we even were gifted some of her dad's very special yuzu condiments. And fresh wasabi, by the way, is like, you'll never go back to the green paste again. Yoshi knows. So it started years ago, and this obviously not going to happen this year, unfortunately, but it's something that I always look forward to this year.
Yeah.
This time of year.
Do you have any special toast that you'd like to give this time?
Yes, it's been a weird day, so it's Diet Coke right now.
Okay.
But just to echo what Yoshi said, to this community, this has been amazing. This is number 38 or whatever, and I look forward to it every week. I look forward to seeing all of your faces every week, and it's been really therapeutic to have these get-togethers, to have it be not regimented, but a regular thing that always is.
Yeah.
It's a constant. So you all have provided that for me personally, and I'm just grateful to all of you. That said, let's do this in person as soon as we possibly can.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Yes.
Amen. Yeah, just sort of insight behind the curtain look. Sometimes we will get together just with the resident artists and the staff of Solestina just to have a Zoom meeting. And I remember we had one when during the George Floyd protests. I think it was just around that time, and everybody was just like, let's just have a Zoom meeting. It wasn't for any reason. It wasn't to prepare for a happy hour or anything like that. And I have to say, I mean, it really, this is a group of people who, it's not just that we get together, just to do things for Solestina. I mean, it feels like, it feels like its own little family. And as Brian said, everybody in the happy hours as well. Like every time we come on here, it is always a feeling of anticipation and joy. I always look forward to every happy hour, even after 38 of them. I'm never feeling like, oh, another happy hour. I'm always, like, is it Tuesday? Is it time? And the preparation for these happy hours too is always just a blast. Whether it's talking to a resident artist or for the guests that we have too, everything about this is a joy. So my toast is to all of you, as Yoshi said too. Just want to echo that to all of you here for joining us during the holidays and just for our community. This is a community. This is this is a big family. So cheers to all of you.
Cheers.
And to those of you who aren't Southern California local, you're just as much of this community as well. And please, when you come visit, plan your trip around a Solestina concert, please.
That's a great idea. Brian, wait, don't forget, you have to give us your musical hygge.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. So before I give you the official musical hygge, I just watching the Heijin video, I was reminded of, so what is musical hygge? What are we doing? This just this sort of like warm, comforting feeling that music gives us, right? And watching Heijin play reminded me of one that I had kind of forgotten about. And with all due respect, Fabio, you mentioned long piano recitals might be kind of boring. I can't wait to be bored soon. Like, let's do this. I'm itching to get back there. But Heijin, that sound, there's a quality of sound when the music is just sort of resonating inside the piano that it certainly doesn't translate in recorded sound very well, despite all the great equipment. And look, I'm a broadcast professional. I try my best to make it translate too, but it just doesn't. It's different when you're in the same space with the actual vibrations, isn't it? So that's one part of musical hygge. And then I will share my screen again and give you another, because this is just something that I can't wait for. So way back at the beginning of pandemic, we did a show on KUSC called At Home With, and it was basically inspired by Gustavo Dudamel wanting to like share music with folks, and we then partnered with a whole bunch of other different artists to visit them in their homes and have them curate a playlist for what music brings them comfort and joy in scary, anxiety-producing, uncertain times. And we had 9 different guest artists from across classical music. And the single common composer that every single one of the artists shared was not Bach or Mozart or Brahms even, but Maurice Ravel. So there's something about the music of Ravel that for musicians, and the resident artists can maybe speak to this too,
but it's just, there's something about Ravel that is just a musical hug. And so this is what I'm thinking about in my moment of musical hygge. Did that go full screen? Oh, there it is.
There we go.
The closing moments of Mother Goose, it's so powerful. And what I can't wait to experience, not just the resonance of the piano in the room, but I can't wait to hear a big giant orchestra of like 100+ musicians playing as softly as they possibly can, because that is another sound that you just can't experience other than in the room with the orchestra. So just for a bit of context, here's the beginning of the end of Mother Goose. And then I'll play you my moment of musical hug. And what I love about this recording, Myung-Hwan Chung, totally underrated conductor. The tempo of this is like they're just reluctant to go to the next note because the note that they're on just sounds and feels so beautiful. So here's just a smidge of the beginning. Don't want to move forward. They're holding back, but it's not stuck, right? So the great moment in here comes after these two little violin duets, and then Ravel returns back to the theme even more softly than how it begins. And this is just a moment for me that I can't wait to experience something like this in a concert hall again, whenever it's safe. So please enjoy this musical hug courtesy of Ravel. The moment comes and you'll see it's just conductor cam, and it's just beautiful. That's all I'm giving you. That's the hug. That pause, that space, that the moment in the silence right in between going in to ramp up for the big finish.
Oh yeah.
That's it for me.
That's beautiful. Meredith, what is that on your face?
Hello? Okay. I found a filter. I don't know if everyone can see, but it's called Prancer, I think. And I think when I close my eyes, it moves. Is it moving?
Yes.
That's
yes.
hilarious. Oh my God.
Is this on Zoom?
Yeah. You have to
No
go into your
way.
like videos. It's like choose video filter, it says for me. So, but no one else can pick this one.
No, wait, where is this? Choose video filter. Got it.
Stop video, yeah, choose video filter. There's a lot in there.
And then what? And then where?
Okay, choose video filter. And then yeah, I just scroll through them and there's like a line of like, see, you can be a little piggy, a bunny, unicorn. Ooh, that's a good one. I might keep that actually. I like that.
Got it.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. Oh man, good stuff.
So you just came back from Tahoe.
I did. Yes. Ben and I had a COVID safe vacation. We quarantined for 2 weeks before and got tested multiple times before we went together. But we went up and spent Christmas in Tahoe, and it was so, I think it couldn't have been more hygge if it had tried to be. We had a fireplace going. We had a Christmas tree. We were all knitting 24/7 and going sledding and, you know, eating delicious things and hot chocolate. It was magical. It was
Oh,
so
that sounds
great.
amazing.
It was great. We loved it. It was so much fun.
I know you have a toast.
I have a toast. I feel like I'm gonna repeat what a lot of people have said, but I wanted Ben says, Meredith, you're out of control. I am. I want another haiku. Oh gosh. See if I can come up with one off the top. No, I totally can't. I just wanted to make a toast to all of our all of you, honestly, all of our Celestina friends and family, old and new both. I feel like it has been so special and rewarding to get to know all of these wonderful new faces that I've now come to hope to see every Tuesday night. I recognize all of you, and I think you're all so wonderful and special, and I'm so glad that you choose to spend your Tuesday nights with us. Is that a mustache, Kevin? Sorry, it totally distracted me.
This
Is
was
that
always
your,
here. No,
is
this
that your
was here.
normal face?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Stop it. Am I
Indeed.
crazy? Oh my but anyway, yeah, I just wanted to give a toast to everyone in this Zoom. We love you guys, and I hope we'll all, as Brian said, I hope we'll all get to meet in person one day soon. So cheers to you all.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
So Meredith, can we do the holiday song request?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so Meredith has been so kind as to be accommodating of this idea. We would like you guys to type in a holiday song that you would like to hear Meredith sing, and she will do it right now. So in the chat, and Meredith, I'll let you decide which one it is, and then you can choose which one and go
Okay.
for it.
Ooh, Silver Bells is pretty. I'm gonna have to Google the lyrics to all of these just to make sure I don't mess them up.
All I want for
Oh, God.
Christmas.
I
Nice.
can't do Mariah justice. Oh, how pretty. Ah, cat version. Oh my gosh, Brian. Oh, wow. Jonas Kaufman. If anyone hasn't heard his Christmas album, please do yourself a favor and never listen to it. God bless him. Oh my God. Oh my God. These are all great choices. Oh man.
You can only choose one.
Oh God. You guys don't want to hear me sing for an hour? Are you kidding? Okay. How about I kind of want to do Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas because it's so, yeah, exactly, Jason. Someday soon we all will be together. All right, I'm going to look up the lyrics real quick.
Oh yeah, you're going for it?
I'm going to try.
All right.
I'll probably only do one verse if that's okay.
Vicky. Vicky, wait until you see my hygge selection.
Okay, so you're going to have to tell me if my sound is okay because we haven't done a sound check. So I don't want to blow your ears out when I start singing. Should I
Okay,
have
go.
my original sound on or no?
Yeah, you should.
Okay, now it's on. All right. Oh gosh, I'm nervous. Okay. I might skip around a little.
Go for it.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Doo-doo. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather together. If the fates allow, hang a shining star upon the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now. And that's it, y'all. Aw, thank you. I can't believe Kevin convinced me to do that. Thank you.
It didn't take that much convincing.
That's
Meredith,
true.
that
I
was
was like, yes, I'll do it.
beautiful. That was so
Aw.
beautiful.
Thanks. That's so sweet. Aw, that was fun. I was singing that earlier today, so I'm glad it was suggested.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
Thanks. Aw.
So, Ben Smolin, I heard that you have a new purchase.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about. When I look at you with this mustache, you know I mean business.
Yes, I do. It arrived late last night, and I'm so excited about it.
Can you show us?
Yeah. So for everybody who's been following along for all the happy hours, we had Eric Rydvall on back in October, the nyckelharpa player from Sweden, and back in, I guess, late March, early April, when the quarantine started, I got really interested in Scandinavian folk music, and I was just totally captivated by this instrument, the nyckelharpa, and particularly Eric's playing. And so back then, I decided I was going to become a nyckelharpa player and quit my job and go into folk music. And so it turns out it's really hard to find a nyckelharpa. You almost never see them for sale. You have to basically get them made. You have to find a craftsman in the woods in Sweden, and they're not very good with email. And so I finally did. I talked to nyckelharpa who's supposed to be good, and he said, "Oh, I can have you a nyckelharpa ready in June." And I was like, "Great! I'll spend all of quarantine learning to play the nyckelharpa." Anyway, it kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and it arrived last night.
All right. Can you show us?
Yeah.
And for those of you who missed that happy hour, you can always you can email Marissa to see if you can watch it. And also we have a version of the Bach double with 2 nyckelharpas playing the solo parts. Oh my God, that's amazing!
That's it. It's huge. It's very heavy.
Can you play it?
Well, I can make a sound on it. You're not going to like it, though.
Let's hear it.
Meredith has been helping me all day get ready for this. I'm so much more nervous for this than any performance on the flute I've ever given. And I can't play any melodies, just a single note.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful sound too.
But it's really fun, and it's got, for those of you who weren't here when Eric was on, one of the things that really captivated me about the instrument is it has the 4 strings you bow like a normal string instrument, but it also has 12 sympathetic strings underneath that you don't play, but that just vibrate in sympathetically with the main string. So when you're playing it, it sounds like you're playing in some sort of a cathedral or something. It has a wonderful acoustic, and you don't finger the strings. You play these keys on the side, which is helpful for someone like me who doesn't want to worry about intonation.
So what's the plan? Are you gonna? I feel like you need something to work towards. Like we have to have a solo nyckelharpa recital, 5-minute recital, by you
5 minutes?
For us.
2 hours.
Okay. when will that be?
Next week, maybe.
Next week? Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you are a quick study. That's true. Okay.
And I just saw David's question. Yes, you have to tune every string. I don't know how to do that either. So Meredith, we literally drove 11 with the snow. It took us over 11 hours to drive home from Tahoe yesterday. We got back. The nyckelharpa was in this giant box on my porch that looks like a coffin, and we took the nails out, got the nyckelharpa out, and she spent the next hour after this 11-hour drive tuning every string on the nyckelharpa.
So the sympathetic strings you tune individually, like each one of those tiny. Oh wow.
Yeah,
okay.
They have sort of like guitar. Gears.
Those pegs. Yeah, I see. Those planetary gears.
So yeah, I haven't learned anything about how to do that, but we've been working on bow hold and bow speed and pressure today.
Nice. Good student. Any
Well,
toasts?
very good teacher. Yeah, well, okay. First of all, I want to echo what everybody else said. These happy hours have been just like such an amazing thing to look forward to every week, and not just the amazing guests and the amazing hosts, Maya and Kevin, but I've just really appreciated getting to know all the people who've come to these, and not just getting to know you guys, but everybody always comes with so much curiosity and so many great questions, and I feel like that adds at least as much as the content and the guests themselves. So I've just been really, really grateful for that. But I want to make my specific Hygge holiday toast to Maya and Naomi, because I know we've all been thinking about them, and I'm just so it all went well, and so I want to toast to them.
Here's to you, Naomi. That was lovely. Okay, so I'm gonna do we have a special performance, a live performance that's gonna take place very shortly. I have a musical Hygge example. Let's see. First of all, can we put it back on? Is Ben still pinned? No? Okay. He's pinned for me. What did you do to me? You hacked me, Ben.
I'm taking over now.
I knew it. So mine's not so much Hygge as it was more of a kind of stress reliever. So when last week we did the coffee cantata, and I spent just days editing all the audio, and at one point I just needed a break. I needed to blow off some steam, and so just by accident I sort of stumbled on a harpsichord chord that I was editing. As Fabio described, like sometimes we have to edit different things and put them together. And I was replaying it, and suddenly this happened. And keep in mind that these are all sounds that came from the Coffee Cantata recordings. So everything that you're going to hear is from the Coffee Cantata recordings. And Audrey, our amazing social media expert, she's the one who put together this video to go with it. Thanks, Marissa.
Devil juice. I swear I'm going to get you clean. I swear I'm going to get you clean. You have to shun that evil. I swear I'm going to get you clean. No dessert for you. I swear I'm going to get you clean.
There you have it. The Coffee Cantata COVID dance mix. I don't know. I'm not sure what to call it.
Kevin Kumar, future TikTok star.
Actually, Annie Sherman. So that was all footage from the Coffee Cantata. That was a harpsichord. That was at the beginning of each take, there would be a clap so that we could sync the audio with the video and stuff like that. That was what the snare drum was. Yoshi, that was you on cello. Nice jazz bass line there. And the singers. Okay, so Hyejin, your turn.
Hi.
Hi. So you already did a lot for us with that video, but Hyejin was kind enough to volunteer another little performance. Would you mind introducing the pieces?
Yeah, just to lift the holiday spirits, I thought like the little pieces from the Nutcracker Suite written by Tchaikovsky would be very nice for this this event. I thought and it's been really great to hear all of you and the toast of you. And yeah, it's been great year despite with all the obstacles and difficult time that we've been through. Happy Hour was a truly game during this year, and it actually the Happy Hour was where I could recharging myself and get inspired continuously during these days. So thank you for all of you, and here's a little present for all of you. Toast to the brighter new year.
Yay again.
Bravo!
Not such a quality as the previous video because I have spent most probably like a day. Yesterday I just sight read and yeah, so excuse for
No, are you kidding me? I think everyone received it in the spirit in which it was intended. So thank you so much for doing that. Okay, so we have reached the end of our formal happy hour time, and we will, of course, have our soft out and communal hang here. So we can unmute everyone, and they can. You're able to just offer your own toasts and stuff like that. And I do want to hear from all the musicians and from all of you, like what your resolutions might be, because we're not going to have happy hour next week. January 5th, we're taking a break. The week after that, we have Lindsey Stirling. And Lindsey Stirling is, if you saw from the slide, she probably is right now the most popular violinist in the world. Her videos get, I don't know, like hundreds of millions of views and stuff like that. So we're going to be spending an hour with her. The week after that, we have Joe Trapanese, who is a major, major film composer. And he's going to talk to us about what it's like to compose for movies and just his how he got into the business and all kinds of stuff. Then the week after that, we have something kind of unusual and special. We have violinists who are our colleagues in the studios, and these are all fantastic, wonderful violinists. Like they themselves are amazing performers, but they were all very close to different sort of iconic violin figures from the 20th century. Heifetz, Jascha Heifetz, Nathan Milstein, and Alfred Campoli. And so we're just going to talk to them about what it was like to study with them, just ask questions about, how violin playing has changed or just approach to string playing and just get some insight into that. And we have some other things, including a recital by Augustin Hadelich and Orion Weiss. Yes, they will be giving us a recital on our happy hour. Pretty amazing, right? So we're kind of going from one extreme, the one violin sort of extreme with Lindsey Stirling, and then to the other extreme with Augustin Hadelich too. So all things to look forward to in the new year, with a lot of other really interesting guests as well. And let us see. Yes, that's right. More popular than me. Maybe a little bit. Maybe. Okay. You guys can unmute yourselves and let the free-for-all begin. Marissa, we didn't get to you. Would you like to make a toast?
Sure. We'll make since everyone's already done the community one. I'll say for those of us who live with family, a toast to spending so much time, sometimes unending time together. And for those who don't live with family, a toast to being able to see everyone in the future.
Here, here. Cheers.
That's a great toast.
Here.
Marissa figured out the filters. Little Christmas angel.
That's not a filter. That's
just her
always
halo.
there.
Yes, that is
Right.
always there. She just revealed it now.
So true.
Hey, this is David. Brian, I want to give a toast to KUSC, which really helps those of us who live at home alone. And you bring great music to us all day long. And the things you've been doing this holiday season are really appreciated. So 3 cheers to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Here.
Nice toast. I'm a terrible host. I forgot that Ben has musical hygge he'd like to share as well. Ben Smolin, please go for it.
You mean the nickel harbor didn't bring you comfort and warmth?
It was close. It was close.
No, well, we Meredith and I, for those of you who were at the Meredith's block party Halloween happy hour back in October, we've been doing this socially distanced chamber music project this last 7 months called Block by Block. And we made a video that is an arrangement of Leroy Anderson's Sleigh Ride that our violinist in the group, Christine Frank, made this awesome arrangement, and we were all playing different types of percussion, and we just had a lot of fun making it. So for Meredith and me, we decided to bring that to share, to bring some holiday cheer to all of us. I hope I can share this screen right. I'm very nervous about this.
Make sure you also share your audio as well.
Okay. Tell me if I'm not doing it right.
Uh-oh.
That was awesome. What was that? What was the neighing sound?
That
Well,
may or may
it
not
was
have been-
me.
Sorry, but go
It
ahead.
was me neighing through a flute, and then Josh Rands, our clarinetist who does the audio editing, I think added a few extra neighs.
Like a real horse? Because it sounded
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
You guys want to mention your New Year's Zoom event?
Sure. Yeah, so we are planning on having a New Year's Eve gala spectacular this Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Oh, Meredith has put a link in there. Yeah, we have all sorts of fun pieces, New Year's themed, holiday themed, that we've been working on, and other content. And Kevin's going to be a special guest there. We're super excited to have him there. Marissa's going to be there. So if anybody would like to find out more information about it, you can go to that link. And obviously we'd love to have you there. But we had a lot of fun putting together a sleigh ride, and Christine is an amazing arranger.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Nice and jazzy.
I see Maya and Naomi.
Oh, is she here?
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh, hey guys.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Naomi.
She just said, call Uncle KK. So
Oh,
I figured
she
we'd join.
did. Oh, it's so good to see you, Naomi.
Yeah.
We miss you.
Yeah, sorry we missed everything, but things changed by the microsecond over here.
We had some beautiful toasts to you guys and a lot of well wishes. So
That's so
yeah.
nice. That's so nice. Well, we feel appropriately dressed. Oh, you need to leave that on, sweetheart. But I think I need to go now.
Okay. It's so nice of you to come by.
Thank you for the well wishes.
We're so happy she's doing well. Bye.
Thank you for everything. Okay, let's see.
Bye, Naomi.
There we go.
Aw. I think it's really tough. They have to be in the hospital for another few days, and I think only one parent can be in there at a time too. But so far everything is looking. The prognosis is good for post surgery. So yeah, very happy about that. My headpiece is beautiful. You know what? When Maya called, I was in the middle of trying some different ones out, but I think I'll leave it here. It looks nice. Everybody, you're free to unmute yourself and say hi, give a toast, anything you'd like. Berate us. You can, sing a song if you'd like as well. You have to compete with Meredith. I have one resolution that I have to make, and Hyejin, this involves you. So back in June, maybe even May, I asked Hyejin if she would play the slow movement of Beethoven's Spring Sonata with me. I was super inspired, and I wanted to, make a recording with her. And so back in, I think it was June, she actually made this incredible recording. She did it like 3 times. She gave me 3 takes to use. All of them were spectacular. And I still haven't recorded my part. So that is my New Year's resolution. Sorry, Hyejin.
I was actually forgot about it, like completely forgot about it.
Well, I mean, 6 months will do that, or 7 months, or whatever it is. Yeah, but it is gonna come. Sorry, David, I couldn't hear you. It was all choppy.
Oh, I said you should play it live right now.
No, I don't even know where my violin is. But oh, Fabio, before you go, do you want to make a toast, or you want to say anything? Let's see.
I just want to toast for a very healthy 2021, and I can't wait to have the life that it was, if ever we'll come back the way it was.
Cheers. Thank you. And thanks for coming today too.
Thank you, everyone.
Right.
Kevin, I have a resolution, and I never. Oh, Raleigh, did I interrupt you? I saw you.
No, you go first.
Sure? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Thank you. Very kind. I was gonna say I was saying to Ben that I never make New Year's resolutions because I end up like doing them for a week and then I'm like, I'm done with that. But this year, I am resolving to attend when I can and if I can attend more live things, music, plays, theater, anything live I can go to, I want to go to, because I really have realized, when you're a musician, it's easy to not actually go to concerts because you're playing in them and you're tired and you just won't go home and blah, blah, blah. But I miss them so much, and I'm going to make a real effort to attend more music and more everything. Yes, Kevin, you look like you don't believe me.
No, I was gonna say if those things are open up, Mary, you're gonna be performing at all those times too. That's the thing, is you're gonna be Don't forget why you couldn't do that before, which is like
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Well, any free night I have, I'm not going to let myself sit at home and knit, or maybe I'll bring my knitting to the theater.
Knitting
But
is
there
good.
you go.
Knitting is good.
Knitting is good. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'll bring it. Okay, I'm done.
I love that resolution. Oh yeah, go ahead, Riley.
So I don't really have a resolution, but I have something to offer the classical music world. You know, we're constantly saying, wouldn't it be nice if the audience were younger? Now with the vaccine, it's really great how old our audience is, because the first group of our audience gets vaccinated in January, and the next group of our audience, the 65 pluses, get vaccinated hopefully in March or April. And we could have a concert with most of our audience as long as we're careful not to mingle too much with the performers.
Interesting. Yeah.
I know. And screw all those young people. You know, they're the cause of all of us being in quarantine so much, because they went around like ignoring everything. So let's celebrate how old we all are. There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to being old. All right.
Right.
Ooh, nice cup that you're drinking from, Riley.
Yeah, it is a nice one. From Japan.
Ah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Are organizations, are they planning, concerts for March already? March or
No,
April?
I don't think anybody's planning for March,
Okay.
but I think a lot of organizations are getting more confident about late spring and summer.
Especially in Southern California, just because outdoor concerts can happen
Exactly.
a ton. So I would be surprised if there's not some stuff happening at the Hollywood Bowl this next summer.
Well, you know, that's up to the damn city and how much they want to abuse cultural icons.
Well, I just gave a concert 5 days ago here in Japan, and that was a really surreal kind of experience. But I guess things are a little bit different here. People are freaking out, but that's because we have a spike of 900 people in Tokyo. And it's like
Right.
the spectrum is a bit different, I guess. But it was very very well handled, with temperature checks and sanitization, but also group enter and exit. So
What was the concert?
it was a chamber concert, like a piano quartet concert,
Oh, I see.
socially distant chairs and all that. Yeah.
Well, I heard that Japan is closing travel, right? Into the
Yeah,
country?
so no more foreigners are allowed in right now.
So what are you doing there then? You're Los Angelina. That's what you are.
Good point. Good point. Hopefully, I can get my green card now. Now that we are, anyway, a new chapter in the country.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your plan, Yoshi? Are you planning on coming back soon?
That's the plan. I have
Come back, Yoshi. Come back to us.
I actually have a big recital on the 18th. So after that, I come back on the 19th. So
And where's that recital?
that's in Osaka.
Cool.
But it's a shame because I worked hard for this, and it's like a massive hall, and obviously it's not going to be filled, if anything. And even if the concert goes ahead, I don't know if people are going to be comfortable enough to come to a concert. So we'll see. But the mantra for us is we play the same, commit the same amount, whether it's one person or 100 or 1,000, I guess. So
Yeah. That
I
reminds
think
me.
they'll come in Osaka because they have a good spirit in Osaka.
you know it, Raleigh. Yeah.
I know, I've been studying Japanese for like 5 years, and the only people I can understand are people from Osaka because they open their mouth when they talk. And Kyoto is like, no, 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 no. And you're supposed to understand that. No, 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 no.
Well, we are the loudest people.
They're the best, the best.
Yoshi, is it going to be live streamed?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh no! Can you make it happen?
You know, Japan, with all the technological stuff, it's actually quite behind with a lot of things like this. I'm not sure what you think, Heijin, with Korea, but I don't know. Just you think of Japan as this country on the forefront of technology, but actually within the country, things like this are very sort of not quite up to date.
You know, when you were talking about how many people are going to show up, it reminded me of a concert, a recital, an entire recital I gave when I was at USC. And there was a concert series at Pepperdine. And, you know, I was supposed to give a recital with a wonderful pianist. His name is John Novacek. And, you know, we rehearsed for it. We did everything. We prepared, and we were really excited about it. And we walked out, and there was one couple in the audience. One couple. And I was probably 16 or 17 at the time. And that, I mean, I was not used to that at all, you know. And you know, I turned to John and I said, like, this is, let's go home, you know. And he ripped into me. Oh my God. He was like, you call yourself an artist? He's like, what are you doing? You know, these two people are out there. You know, what does it matter who's there? I mean, what does it matter, you know, how many people show up? These people came here, they want to hear music, you know. And so I, you know, it was a big lesson for me, you know, because I thought of myself as like, you know, a budding soloist, and I was like, I'm not going to play, like, playing for two people. It just felt embarrassing for them too, you know. And he was like, no, we're doing this. And so we played they stayed the entire time. They probably felt like they had to. I think they, but we played our hearts out. Yeah, it was one of those concerts I will definitely remember.
It's a good lesson. Like,
yeah, it was a lesson I needed, and I'm glad it happened then. Yeah.
Then and not now.
Yeah. Yes. Wendy, we're saying, are you here, Wendy?
Yeah, I saw her.
Oh.
Maybe. You here?
Oh, she's on. Oh, hi. We were just saying that you have like such. I mean, your hygge scene is much more authentic than mine. Mine is just YouTube on my TV. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you to unmute yourself.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
Hi.
my fireplace is a real one.
It's warmer than mine. How's it going?
Good, good. Just wanted to say I'm looking forward to happy hour every week, every single week. So thanks to you and Maya for the nice production.
Thank you. Thanks, Wendy. Cheers. Cheers to your family too.
Happy holiday to everybody.
Yeah. Thank you. I think I interrupted somebody before I said hi to Wendy. No?
Hey, Kevin, what do you think we should listen to for New Year's Eve besides Auld Lang Syne?
Oh, man. I think the person to ask is Brian. Brian is the one with the occasion-ready repertoire.
There's no wrong answer to that question.
Whatever makes you feel good.
What are you going to listen to, Brian?
I'm not sure.
Probably some electronic music.
It's usually what we put on the playlist for our sushi party. I used to go back and look up all of the #1 hits for the year,
but I'm just not super in the mood to celebrate 2020 this year in any way. So I'm probably not going to do that. But I was saying we had a salon with our young composers earlier this week or last week, I guess. And I was saying to them that they asked the same question, what are you listening to? And I said, I've been listening to a lot of Wynton Marsalis lately, so he'll probably be on the playlist for New Year's Eve. Probably put some Ravel on there because I'm just stuck in that place right now too. But yes, anything that can look forward, not back, because that's, I think, what we need right now.
Yeah.
And I didn't make any New Year's resolutions either. It's not a thing that I usually do. Although in February of this year, I did pay for a 3-year gym membership, which I have get to use for a couple weeks.
Which gym?
It's just the LA Fitness close to us in Pasadena, but
I heard that
promised
I heard it's impossible to cancel. That's the problem.
Well, you can't cancel it because it's prepaid and they won't refund you, but they promise us that however long they are mandated to be closed gets tacked on to the end of your membership. I will believe that when it happens.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. We'll see.
Send me your contract, Brian. I'm a lawyer.
Thank you. You may get a call from me.
Yeah,
That is
Maya,
yes.
this is Anne. I want to thank you for these wonderful, wonderful evenings. This has been spectacular. And as we're ending the new year and looking forward to the next, I want to thank you all for these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experiences.
Thank you, Anne, and thank you for being here every week and for being so supportive. And we just love seeing you there.
Love you, Anne. Thank you.
Hello. It's just such a special part of my life. Thank you so much, all of you.
Still on?
Thank you, Anne.
Is the heat still on?
Yeah.
You need to turn it
Oh,
down.
Warren Loomis, you are unmuted if you would like to say something. I'm not sure if your heat is still on, but your microphone is on. Okay, maybe not. Thank you for that, Anne. Let's see. Rosemary, where are you calling in from?
I live in Kirkland, which is near Seattle.
Wonderful. And remind me how you came to hear about the happy hours?
I follow Keenan Osmay on Facebook, and so he said he was going to be on it, and I think I've seen all but one since then.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, trust me, you are the highlight of my life.
Oh, thank you, Rosemary. That's so sweet.
My Tuesdays are special. Thank you so much for being there.
It is our pleasure, absolutely.
And
How do you know Keenan?
Pardon?
I was just asking how you know Keenan.
He played, so in 2017, when the first travel ban was put out, the Seattle Symphony did a free concert, and they were featuring people in the symphony that were immigrants, and Keenan was there as a guest. And I was fortunate enough to go. They ended up putting it on YouTube, but I was fortunate enough to go. It was one of the most amazing things. And every time he's been to Seattle once or twice, and I've seen him both times. And the last time was at a small venue, so we were only like 6 rows back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how I found you guys, and I just don't miss you at all. It's like that's what's happening on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Can't thank you enough.
It is our pleasure. Thank you. And thanks for your support, too. We really appreciate it. Keenan has the most beautiful vibrato, of any instrument. It doesn't matter if it's clarinet or violin or whatever. It just, yeah, something to aspire to, I think.
Yeah, he's incredible. You guys are all amazing.
Thank you. Thanks, Rosemary.
I have a question.
Go
Can I
for
ask?
it.
Sarah, are you knitting something, and can you show us what you're working on?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Knitting in solidarity with you.
Yeah, girl.
This is the
Wow.
West Slip Stravaganza.
Wow.
I mean, I did a little substitution because there's a diamond shape that's usually here, and I didn't like it. And then he released this other thing called Bubbles and Brioche, and I was like, give me the bubbles. I like the bubbles. So I'm on like the last steps of that. But yeah, you know, when you were talked about knitting, and I was like, I have spent a lot of time knitting in front of Zooms this year, and just want to give you some validation.
Thank you. That is some beautiful work. You are way more advanced than I am. I could take some lessons from you, I think. My God.
I want to tell you, because I've had a couple of you said this, and I've heard it from a couple of people about New Year's resolutions, and I want to encourage you to think about it as intention. Like, set your intention for next year. And because resolution sounds like that thing, like, I am not going to do blank, and that's setting yourself up to really be aggravated with yourself all year.
So
I had this is one of those things where, like, I usually preface with, like, I'm fun at parties, but like yeah, I'm usually in Portland, and I'm in Rhode Island right now. And I have lost both parents in 13 months. Yeah, it sucks.
I'm sorry.
And you know, this was COVID, but COVID didn't make this the second one easier. It was before the first one. So I'm kind of realizing I have some obligations that I'm free from. Oh yeah, Celestine the Knitting Group is yes, by the way. I just saw that. So last year was all like, make sure I don't lose myself in the midst of all the caretaking and stuff I have to do. This year, I was like, wow, I'm free of a lot of this stuff that I've had to take care of. So I kind of settled on two things. One is organization, because when you suddenly have to clear out your childhood home, yeah, you're like, oof, man, organization is the thing you want. But there's a lot of facets that goes into. And then the other one is intimacy, which I recently read something that broke it down into like 12 different types. And one of them is creative intimacy. And I feel like I've got that here with y'all each week. And I really appreciate that. But that also means, like, when you guys are in person and live, I'm showing up.
Yes.
We really hope that's true.
Really
Yes.
like you. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Come.
I get such a sense of joy when I'm watching this music live, and yeah, I'm willing to put some travel into that. So that is something I'm really looking forward to in this year.
Well, Sarah, here's to, a better year for you. And
Thank you.
Thank you for being here with
yeah,
us.
thank you for being here. Yeah.
I'm giving you a huge hug when I meet you in person.
Absolutely.
David, Deborah, I see you.
Yes, Deborah has, she had to take a hasty exit because she has a client she's telehealthing right now, but
okay.
Speaking on her behalf, we, our Tuesday nights have been so magical, as everyone has expressed, and the lineup you have promised us for the new year just sounds absolutely spectacular. So I was just saying to her, we're looking on an iPad and which doesn't accept the YouTube Live. So we're like, we have to create a whole new system in our kitchen. There's no question. We have to have big speakers, and we're gonna have a high power computer, because there's nothing less we'll do to get the full experience that we just cherish so much. So that's our New Year's intention.
Oh, that's an amazing one. Yeah. Yeah, for those of you who are still 2 iPads. For those of you who are, who's listen in Zoom, like the difference to listen in YouTube Live, I know it's a pain, but to listen in YouTube Live, it's quite a big difference. And especially just given the amount of time and craft and attention that these artists spend on their sound and on every detail, every facet of their performance, I think it's worth it to try to get it on YouTube. Yeah. I think Yoshi was the first. You might have been the first one that we did on YouTube Live, right?
That's right. We were just trying it out that time. Yeah, that was way back in, was it April?
That was another life. It was another life.
Gosh. Speaking of New Year's intentions, I've with COVID and everything, it's like for me, I want to share mine, and that's to actually be more active and being healthy. And I know not everything in life can be prevented. Some things happen, but I've certainly not been exercising frequently. And this was what did it the other day, which is I was on a bike ride with my dad, who is almost 70, and he's been training like every day, and he's just with son and father, there's a bit of a rivalry for the rest of your life, kind of thing.
Your dad's 70 and you're competing with him. All right.
And right. So, but I thought, I'm gonna beat him on this hill. My goodness, I was huffing and puffing. He just went, just gliding past me. He's like, "Hey, how's it going? You up there, huh? I'll wait for you." And I was like, there's this sense of like, ugh, and to know that he was much more fitter than me was just sad. So
that's a good intention. Yeah, I need that one too. But I've been saying that for the last 20 years or something. Let's see.
Hey Meredith, I can't seem to get these filters on my.
Are you okay? Are you on a computer or a like a tablet? Computer. So when you go down and you see the little thing that says stop video.
Yeah. I go to the page, the filter page, but there's no filters actually.
Oh.
Download it or something.
I wonder if maybe you need to update your Zoom.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because I updated mine recently, so it might just be you need an update.
I'm so excited to play around with all these.
Oh.
Gary Drucker, it looks like you have a nice hygge scene too. You enjoying something warm to drink there? I just asked you to unmute yourself if you don't mind.
Well, this is my wife Rebecca, and
hi Rebecca.
We basically turn these Tuesdays into kind of when you attend certain concerts like at Tanglewood or the Hollywood Bowl, and you can have dinner. So since we actually could do it on our stereo system in our media room, but it's more comfortable with a laptop and having hors d'oeuvres and drinks. So it's become a very nice feature for our week.
Yes.
That is a delightful thing,
lovely.
and yeah, that is lovely. And I'm gonna make sure I, check your camera square more often to see what you're eating.
It varies, but it's often cheese stuffs or stuff like that one would take to such an event. So we're trying to replicate a freedom we don't have right now.
Right. Yeah.
Which outdoor concerts do you usually attend?
Well, Tanglewood or Hollywood Bowl, where you can take food along and you can either sit on the grass, or at Hollywood Bowl you can get a table.
Yeah.
And, there are more casual summer type concerts rather than concert halls.
Mm-hmm. We've actually been considering, for our presentation of Osi Fan Tutte, of doing it outdoors, maybe at an outdoor mall, because it is supposed to be set in a mall, or having. I think a lot more organizations are going to start thinking about, outdoor concerts after this year.
Well, California makes it relatively easy because it's a rather dry climate. So obviously you can't do it in the rain, and in other climates it rains more regularly.
Yeah, that's true.
It's good to do it maybe as an opportunity.
Yeah. What's is Tanglewood? Are they planning on doing anything this summer? Do you know?
I mean, we live in Los Angeles, so we're not there. But
Yeah.
we used to be in these, so I don't know what they're doing right now. We've gone to Aspen, but you can't really eat there because you have to either go in there's a small concert hall and there's also a large tent. But in Tanglewood, you can be on the grass, or the Hollywood Bowl, you can get a table and eat mostly before the concert starts.
Yeah.
But I think it's nice to do concerts outside. I grew up in New York, and they used to have band concerts in the summer in the parks, and that was really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
To go to. So you can think about it.
Yeah, I think one of the I think our resident artists will be open to it, but one of the things that holds us back also is just exposing our instruments to the elements, Yeah. So, brass bands, I mean, that's just plumbing. That doesn't matter.
Right.
But, real instruments like the violin, I'm kidding.
And they do concerts at the Hollywood Bowl with a full orchestra. So, I wouldn't leave it out overnight, but I think you could take your string instruments.
Totally. One time well, this is not a good story about that. One time I was in Italy on the coast somewhere. I think it was Castiglione or something like that, playing a concert outdoors. It was right, there was a cliff, there was the ocean there, and we were there for a day. And in the middle of the concert, I noticed that the top part of my violin had slid off of the ribs. So, yes, it completely unglued the top part of my violin. And it was extremely humid, and we had been traveling a lot, and I think that was just, the last sort of amount of humidity that just dissolved the glue in my instrument.
Actually, one of the great concerts we attended outdoor, where was that, in Verona, or where we went to Aida? I think it's Verona. They have a circus, a coliseum in the middle of the city, of the town. And so on one half are the performers, and the other half is the audience. And there's no rows, so you have to step around people to get to your seat. And it was pretty spectacular. They had fireworks in the background, and it was great. They had I guess they were boats on water as part of the opera. So anyway, outdoor stuff is, you can do things that you can't do indoors, and it'd be good to try some of them maybe.
Yeah. I also did this was years ago. I played in a very small chamber version of an opera called Orpheus and Eurydice. I think it was Ricky Ian Gordon was the composer, and they decided to have the setting be in that Long Beach Olympic pool stadium. So the pool was the River Styx, and they had a boat there, and it was the characters in the opera were Eurydice, and then Orpheus was played by a clarinet. And they would go from one side of the there were people in the water who were moving the boat around, but they would go from one side of the pool all the way to the other side. And it was a complete nightmare, because when they got to the other side, we were receiving their sound like a second later. And in that pool stadium, it was just, it was a complete nightmare. And I just remember that at the end of the run of performances, we all decided to jump into the pool because we were so happy it was, it was over. We drowned ourselves in the River Styx. Yeah.
I hope you left your instrument on the dry land.
Yes, I managed to do that. Thanks, Mary.
When people perform at Hollywood, like members of the LA Phil or members of the Hollywood Bowl Orchestra, do they have two sets of instruments? Do they use one for their outside and not use their best instrument when they play?
Okay, so I think I understood your question because for me at least, your sound it sounds like you're in a helicopter, like it's going. So if I'm wrong, then please forgive me. Yes, the answer is yes. I think. I mean, actually, it depends. Personally have an instrument that I use outdoors if I have to, and then I use my nice instrument inside. But it just depends. Like at the bowl, you're not playing usually in the daytime, right? So you don't have the sun beating down on it, melting your varnish. I have in the summers I co-direct a festival out in the Finger Lakes in upstate New York.
Oh,
And when we have outdoor concerts there, I try not to I try to just borrow a local instrument there, and try not to use my nice fiddle. What a big problem is actually the bow, right? Because if you're in a humid environment, and you know this, David, but if you're in a humid environment, like sometimes you try to tighten your bow and nothing happens, or you try to put a lot of rosin on and there's just too much water in the hair. Or on the other side is if you go out and play in the desert, your bow, you can't loosen it, right? Because it's so dry, the hair gets shorter. And so you're trying desperately to loosen your bow before the hair before your bow snaps, the wood snaps. So because there are these kinds of things that are real dangers to the instruments, it's a good idea to have something like that. But I remember Solestina did a concert with Sarah Chang out in the desert, and she was using her Guarneri, still Jesu, I think. And but I mean, she just came out, did her performance and then ran back in. But that was in the nighttime. The weather was mild, But yeah, it's something you have to really be careful about.
When you say Finger Lakes, do you mean Chautauqua there or?
Canandaigua. I don't know if you know where that is.
In general, we thought of going there. There's a Chautauqua festival, but it seemed a little corny, so we've never really gone.
It sounds a little corny. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Well, it's Chautauqua. It's a week by week, supposed to be kind of this intellectual sessions.
Right.
And but that's a little bit more west.
Yeah. Yeah. So I am part of this festival. It's called the Canandaigua. Oh well, we changed the name. Now it's called Chamberfest Canandaigua, and it's a festival that's been going on for about 15 or 16 years now. And I used to go as a guest artist, and then they invited me to come on as one of the directors. It's near. It's like 40 minutes south east of Rochester.
Yeah.
So sometimes we'll have Eastman faculty join us, but we have a lot of East Coast performers who live there, who like in New York City and stuff, come out. Meredith's been a guest there as well too.
And it's on a lake. Yes, is it on a lake?
Yeah, Canandaigua Lake.
Do you perform with the Ying Quartet?
The Ying Quartet, they are on our advisory board.
Got it. So Philip Ying was my college roommate.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Are you still in touch with him?
I was in his wedding party, and he's one of my best friends in life. I've known him for over 30 years.
Oh, nice. I don't know if I've actually met him in person, but he was. I wasn't there when the festival started, but he was one of their, I think, artistic advisors or something like that. Yeah, to start with. Yeah, but out there, it's very, very. It's very humid in the summer. It's beautiful, but it's humid. So outdoor concerts are a little bit scary. Oh, and you are muted. I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself there.
David's audio comes across as ba 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 every time. I think we all hear that. What is going on? And how do you fix it?
I'm not sure. David, I noticed that when you get closer to the mic, that I think it gets smoothed out, or it could just be a setting. You might have echo.
We do not hear that with anyone else. David, fix that.
I will work on it. I will tell you that I have a special setup.
It may be his distance from the router. He may not have enough bandwidth.
Yeah. You know what you could do, David? If you want to schedule like a little, I don't know, session with Marissa and I, we can help you out with that and try to fix the problem.
Please do.
Thank you. I was about to sing out of tune when you do it.
Maddening.
Andy and Esteban, what's up? What are you guys drinking? Here, let me see.
Hello. Hello. We're drinking wild sweet orange tea, which is a juicy, tangy infusion of orange peel, lemongrass, citrus herbs, and licorice root.
Sounds very. Sounds very. I was gonna say hipster, but I'm gonna say delicious. Nice. You know, I actually one of the things I've kind of given up over the last couple months is coffee, because I used to drink it. So I didn't start drinking coffee until the week that my son was born. This was 5 years ago, and before that, I always thought that coffee was just a pretty ridiculous drink. You know, it was just hot bean juice, and it was just sort of weird. And that week that my son was born, I was in the middle of recording I think it was the first Star Wars movie in the trilogy, Force Awakens, I think. I don't know if you guys are Star Wars fans, but it was a big thing because John Williams hadn't recorded Star Wars here in town for a long time. And so I didn't play the day that my son was born, but after that, you know, my wife was like, you know, you need to go get that money. So that week, but I would go back home and my son was up all night. I was sleeping. I maybe slept for about 4 hours that week, you know, that entire week. And so that's when I started drinking coffee, and it's been, you know, a habit for the last 5 years. And the last couple of months, I realized that I'm not as nice of a person when I drink coffee. Like, I get a lot of stuff done, but I'm actually not as nice as I think I am when I'm off coffee. So I stopped. But then, yes. But the problem is now that I've been given 2 coffee subscriptions as Christmas presents. So I'm not sure what to do now. I might have to start again. But they're like, you know, 3 or 4 month coffee subscription, and they're delicious, like beautiful coffees that, you know, I don't want to go to waste. So
What's the brand? What's the
one is called Atlas, I think, which I don't know. I had never encountered that before. And the other one is actually one of the roasters that did one of our coffee cantatas live. Arcade Roasters. And that was introduced to me by a fellow violinist, by actually Luann Holmesy. And I tried their coffee, and I was like, this is nectar. This is so smooth and delicious. And they actually came out to Villa Aurora in the Palisades when we did our live coffee cantata there, and they were the ones who served coffee there. I think David and Deborah also got some coffee from them as well. Yeah, it's good stuff, right?
What's your
favorite
coffee?
What's that?
What's your choice brewing method?
Oh, pouring method. You know, I actually at home I use oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't remember what it's called. The thing that you push down with the plunger. No.
Press.
AeroPress.
AeroPress. Yes. I can't believe I use it like every day and I can't remember it. Yes, AeroPress. That's what I use. You guys coffee drinkers, or are you guys tea drinkers?
Well, I stopped coffee for a similar reason as you, because I wasn't too good on coffee.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it. So I'm just down to half a cup, and I'm a much nicer person.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife is like, she's like, you know, she kind of wants to like drip feed it to me when I'm sleeping, because she's like, you're just amazing. She's like, you get so much done. You fix things around the house. You're just so productive when you drink coffee. And I'm like, but I'm not nice. She's like, I don't care. You get things done. So I don't know. I'm I'll have to see, you know. Yeah. Well, we're happy to see you every week.
Yeah, we love
Yeah.
coming. It's part of our weekly, just our weekly schedule.
Yeah, and we've learned so much, and we still go back and talk about the things that we've learned from different happy hours from this musician or from this musician, and piece them together through with things that we're experiencing in our own life.
Yeah.
So it's been really wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that I'm really kind of, I don't want to say I didn't realize this before, because I mean, like the musical community, the people who make music their call, I mean, for whom music is a calling and it's their vocation, you know, they're usually pretty amazing people, you know? And so like a lot of my friends are actually they're musicians just for that reason. But the guests that we've had on, I really feel like there's something remarkable about all of them. You know, they've just taken things to kind of like their logical conclusion and beyond. You know what I mean? Like they're just going in this direction, and they've been forced to think about things in such different ways. And yeah, I'm learning a lot from them too, you know. And actually just even, you know, I'm remembering, I've been thinking a lot about rhythm lately, you know, and like just thinking about, like, for one reason is because I think I'm going to start my son first off playing a percussion instrument just so he can learn rhythm first. And then he can get into melody and all that kind of stuff. But it just seems like it makes sense. But I've just been thinking, like, as a classical musician, we don't really think about rhythm in the same way. We think of it as this, you know, expressive tool, let's say, you know, whereas a lot of other musicians, like, it is the foundation, like a rock, not just a rock steady beat, but your own twist on it, like how to make, it's a hook for people. Like if you have a groove that is attractive in a way, that's how you bring people in. You know, that is the first thing that you need to have to bring people in. And I'm just remembering like conversations with like Chris Steely, you know, like just asking him, dude, how do you get that? You know what I mean? Like, how do you get such a like magnetic kind of underlying rhythm to it, you know? And just being able to ask people like that, you know, and have them answer, be like, dude, I work on it all the time. I just record myself and do it again and do it again and do it again, you know? And he studies other people, and just realizing that, you know, all of us deal with the same questions, and not just about rhythm, but just about in life, right? Like all of us deal with the same, we all have the same problems. We all have the same, we're all the same. We all have to deal with the same things, you know? And so just hearing like that kind of, somebody who's in their position having, and what kind of outlook that they have, you know, we don't really get into like the darker stuff, you know, a lot of the time with these artists, because we just don't have time to do that, you know? But everybody's just on the same path, you know? And after 38 of these, it's like, yeah, we're all on the same path, but you know, we can all help each other on the way. That's how I kind of feel about these things, you know? Yeah. Well, cheers to you guys.
You all.
I may start drinking some tea. Hi, Caroline. I'm just gonna go through and call everyone out here.
Hello, Kevin. I
How's it
enjoy
good?
this so much every Tuesday night. It is part of my regular schedule too, and my husband who's standing behind.
Hi, Neil.
It's like we wouldn't have gotten through this without you. I
Aw.
mean, really, you know.
Well, the feeling is mutual. You know, when we first started this, sorry, go ahead.
You know, we all need so much regularity in our lives now, and it's not there. It's not there. And I was reading an interesting article the other day. It was about melatonin, actually, of all things, and how it affects our body. And being a hormone, people shouldn't really take it lightly, just buying it over the counter, because you really can have issues with it. And I have terrible sleep problems, so I was kind of curious about this. It was an
And
article
coffee
about
problems.
we won't go there. But no, but the point was that I thought was so interesting, and now I lost my train of thought.
Melatonin.
That they were trying to say in there that one of the things that melatonin tries to do, but what's so important if you're trying to regulate sleep and issues, is the regularity in your lives. And they said this really goes way beyond so many other things that you think, like go to bed at the same time, things like that. They said the things you do through the course of your day and your week actually really do feed into your sense of well-being and health.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know, I have been fighting for so long this need to have some regularity in my life with the way modern society is so crazy and, you know, all over the place and wild, and you go hither and yon and you're doing all this other stuff. And this has actually made me think about that quite a bit, how really grateful I am to have some regularity, and it really gives me a sense of complacency that I kind of need. And I got complacency in the negative sense, but in the positive sense.
Yeah.
And I think all of us who keep coming here every week, which I do, and I know I see names up there that I recognize now. Actually, one of the neat things about this is that it's like every week I have name badges on the same people I see that I can never remember, but now I'm learning the names. But no, that regularity is just so phenomenal, and it's worthwhile regularity. It's not like watching the 7 o'clock news, which is regular but terrible.
Yeah. No, I have to say that I think it's the same
It's
for
really,
me
really
too.
important, and it's really, really satisfying. And I couldn't, I mean, I just can't imagine being without it now. I mean, Tuesday night is like, no, you will not get in my way because it's Celestina night.
You know,
Absolutely.
Kevin, thank you for this. Thank Maya for this, and we think about her and Naomi, and hope they will be very well.
Absolutely.
But thank you. You're an important part of all of our lives.
Thank you, Anne.
Yes.
New Year.
Happy New Year, Anne.
Happy New Year, guys.
Caroline, I remember when we first came up with this idea. Is Brian still here? Because he was part of that
No,
conversation
he
too.
left.
Oh, okay.
I saw his note.
Okay. He and Maya and I were talking about, you know, what to do during this time. And years back, I had a string trio that was local here with a member of the Los Angeles Chamber Orchestra and a member of the LA Phil. And we had a trio that would, we had our own concert series. It was called Catgut Mondays. And we would do our concerts on Mondays. Yeah, we're called the Catgut Trio because, you know, not because we disemboweled cats, but because of the strings.
Strings, yeah.
And so we would, maybe once every 2 months or something, we would have a concert on a Monday, and it was completely self-presented and everything. And I thought, we're trying to think of something that we could do, Celestina could do during this time. And I thought, you know, it was nice to have something. First of all, at this time, it didn't, I mean, when we first started this, it didn't seem to matter what time of day. I mean, what day of the week that we would have things, because every day was the same. There was no more weekend or, you know. But then we also thought, you know, weekends are usually taken. People have things planned, and so we thought we would do a weekday. And Catgut Mondays were kind of an inspiration for the Happy Hour Tuesdays, you know. And so we just said, you know, let's just do this every Tuesday. And I remember the first couple of happy hours that we didn't have many people showing up. You know, we had, I mean, it was like family because it was people that we were used to seeing from, you know, from our concerts, right? But for a while we just weren't sure how this was going to go. And even though we were enjoying doing them, we just weren't sure what kind of effect or how much we were actually helping our community or forming a community. And then luckily they just kind of blossomed into things. And I think at the Coffee Cantata event last week, I think we had something like 260 people show up. So, but I think, you know, for us, things were very regular in an artistic sense before. Like we were constantly having to prepare. Not only do the things that we usually do as performers, but for Solestina particularly, we prepare an entire program each month, right? And that's not a normal thing to do. I mean, a lot of artists, they'll prepare like one recital and they'll go on tour with it for a year, or they'll have two or three programs or something like that, and they'll just kind of alternate between them as they travel around. But with Solestina, it's like every month we would have a new program that we'd have to prepare for, not only just practicing and getting the music in our fingers, but like how we wanted to present it too, so we had that regularity of every month, we'd have the concert, then, a few days later, Maya and I would get on the phone and we would talk about like, okay, here's the next concert, here's what we need to do. And we were feeling like we were doing that every month. Can we do this every week, for these happy hour Tuesdays? And I think it has, it's been really good for the organization, but I think just personally for both of us too, I think it's been, that regularity has been, a sort of saving grace for us too.
Oh,
So,
I think it's been very good for all of us, Kevin. This question, right from the beginning, I just started saying, well, every day is just today. You didn't know what day of the week it was, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but now very quickly it became every day is just today unless it's Tuesday.
yeah.
That was my
Unless it's Tuesday.
Unless it's Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how it is for us too.
So Tuesday became the special day, where something you could count on that was special.
Yeah.
And I know there's plenty of people here that feel the same.
Yeah. Well, we feel the same way too. Thank you.
So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year. Beth, you mind saying hi?
hi?
Oh, oops.
Oh, oops.
Hyejin, are you, sorry, were you saying something? No? Oh. I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself, Beth, if you don't mind. You don't have to.
I don't mind at all.
Hi.
I'm in Berkeley, so I'm Northern California contingent. I am totally not musical. It all got concentrated in one sibling. So she got all of the fiddles and the grand pianos and everything else that the musical part of the family. And I thoroughly enjoy my Tuesday evenings. I have no recollection how I found you, though. I wish now I could remember.
Well, that's okay. I mean, I'm glad it happened organically.
It's been wonderful. Sometimes I'm a little late, but I show up every Tuesday. As she said, it's nice to have the regularity and know I've got my Tuesday night date.
Yeah. Well, we're grateful to have you. Cheers to you. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
David Newman, you're next. I have to say, David, I've worked with a composer named David Newman a couple of times, and also he did something with us for a film scoring. It was like a film scoring seminar or conducting seminar where we have a picture of him as part of Solestina for a day, and so when I first saw your name, I thought that you were that David Newman. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes. I met David Newman. I went to see the AYS, American Youth Symphony, and Robert Desiderio is a client of mine, and they were doing the Aaron Copland Lincoln. They were doing his Lincoln portrait.
Right. Uh-huh.
And so Robert Desiderio, my client, knows David Newman. And so anyway, I met him. He's such a great guy. He's a genius, It's incredible.
He's very, very, very intense. So intense.
Is he?
Oh, he's so intense. He's so intense that he speaks with vibrato. Like he literally has so much, like he's got so much that he wants to express that he starts to talk like with vibrato. It's like he's
It's very interesting. Yeah, you're right. I think he was a little bit high strung. He was high strung. I love Celestina. I make most of them. Sometimes I have to work.
Sure, yeah.
But I luckily had been to a bunch of your live concerts, and I thank God that I got on that list, because it does save me. It saves me. Sometimes I'm in my car and because I'm not able to get home, and just to see so much talent, I miss so much the live performances of everything, you know, going to anywhere. And if it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't have had anything. I was really so depressed. I've never gone that long without hearing like a live musicians and a live performances. And it was like you guys were the only ones that I could really find, and it was regular. And so I'm so grateful, like, for you guys going through all the work to do it. I know that it's a lot of work.
It is. It doesn't feel like work, but thank you for saying that, and we're happy that, you know, that it's meaningful to you. That's why we're doing it.
I just found out, as a side note, I want to tell you that I've been doing research on the NASA Voyager 1 and 2. That they were in 1977 they were launched, and they were going over the outer planets. They're going over Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. One of them went through 2 outer planets, one went through 4. And the reason I'm telling you that is because there's a golden record, a record made of gold that they put on both of those, and both of those are now past the solar system. They're continued on. They're out into space, right?
Right.
And they're traveling like at 18,000 miles an hour. But there's Carl Sagan put a golden record on there, and it's got music of Bach on there, and it has Beethoven's String Quartet number 13 in B flat on there. And I think there's other pieces too, because one of the ladies who was involved with the making of the record, she saw a note Beethoven wrote in his diary. He was talking about his String Quartet number 13, the Cavatina, the 5th movement. And he says, "Will they like my music on Venus? What will they think of it on Uranus?" At last, she felt a way to respond to that impulse, so she put it in there.
Well,
I love that classical music is on there, you know, in space.
Yeah, that is incredible. You know, that's funny. I mean, first of all, that string quartet deserves to be on that record.
Yeah.
But you know, so many composers that I speak to when we talk about the late Beethoven string quartets, I mean, they basically, it's still, those pieces are still huge mysteries to everybody, because it's almost like Beethoven was an alien all of a sudden, you know, just the way that he approached writing those string quartets. And, you know, he in his own notes, he said something like, you know, I have a new way of part writing now. And I don't know what was going on with Beethoven at that time, but they're so different. And, you know, so many composers have been inspired by those pieces, but very few of them are able to, you know, capture the soul in the same way that Beethoven was able to in those late pieces. That Cavatina is just, God, it kills me every time. But yeah, and they're a challenge to perform too, because they're so different. And I mean, you can play all the notes and you can do all that kind of stuff, but to internalize and to kind of embody what he was trying to express in those pieces is, you know, it's sort of our holy grail, I would say. You know? Yeah, I'm reading his letters, and I'm reading a lot of his biography, and I'm reading a lot about his life and stuff. And so I'm going to get to that part and all that. He's really, we got lucky because since he was deaf, he did a lot of writing in a notebook. Yeah. And we have a lot of extra stuff we wouldn't have. But yeah, but I just, I'm glad to be able to thank you guys, you know, at this time, you know, for all that work, because there are people who just are addicted to classical music. I mean, I'm addicted, and I was having a lot of troubles. It really helped me a lot to have live, and then you can hear interviews
the interviews of the people and what it's like, you know, and all their process. And it's like so cool. So anyway, thank you so
Thank
much.
you, David. No, thank you, and thanks for attending when you can. I think people were saying that they enjoy seeing you in your car. Yeah.
Because I get stuck and I can't get home. I can't get home.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to miss it, you know.
No,
and
you're
I
totally
feel-
welcome to. I mean, that's the beauty of these events is, you know, you can be well, hopefully you can be, you know, in anywhere. And, you know, we always love, you know, seeing, we're always grateful for those of you who turn on your video, you know, because, you know, a lot of other organizations, when they have Zoom events, it's like all black squares, you know, nobody turns on their video, you know, just because they feel like it's, you know, they just don't, it's invading their privacy, or that they just don't want to have to like be, you know, participate in that way. So,
video's going.
yeah. So anyway, so thank you all for letting your video go. And LU, I'm not sure whose name is LU, but I would like to say
Sorry, I
hi.
didn't realize it unmuted.
No, please. I want to say hi to your cat too.
Yes. Oh, cats. one is Musa, so he appreciates Marissa and Meredith and all the M's.
Ah, okay. Can you
And
remind
I
me?
agree with, what?
Oh, sorry, I was going to ask you. Can you remind me of your name?
I'm sorry, it's Laura.
Oh, Laura. Okay.
You are right.
Yeah, because it just says LU on your screen.
Yeah.
So.
And I agree with everyone else. It's Tuesday nights have been real special. I discovered you because of an earthquake. The Ridgecrest earthquake happened, what was that, a year and a half ago? 2 years ago. And Dr. Jones gave these fabulous reports from the earthquake. And Dr. Jones is like the earthquake guru.
That's right.
And then I got a message that she was performing on something, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I watched that and have been hooked ever since.
Oh, wait, are you calling from the middle of California?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And you were kind of in the middle of those fires and everything at that time.
No, but
it's our county.
Yeah, it's our county.
It's your
and
county, yeah.
We volunteer for emergency services, but
I
because
remember
of our
that.
age, all the other stuff with us, it's really hard when you're trained to volunteer and you have to sit at home and listen to everybody else going out.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's okay there now?
As of last week, they were finally 100% contained.
As of last week.
Last week, yes.
Oh my goodness.
It took that long.
That is.
But you know,
That's scary.
we have an amazing state in its ability to fight these disasters that come along. We have some really amazing first responders and emergency and connections with other countries even that came to help fight the fire, even during COVID.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah.
So it is amazing how everybody comes together. And again, thank you. It's always a conflict right after Solstina is the virtual square dancing group that we belong to.
Whoa. Tonight? Are you skipping it tonight, or is it not going on because of the holidays?
They're not having it tonight because tomorrow night's going to be their New Year's Eve party.
So do you have like an area there that you've do you have a square dancing area that you prepare for the events?
Yeah, our living room. And you have, usually a square has 8 people. So you have either you have 1 person and 7 virtual dancers, or some of us have 2 people and 6 virtual dancers. And if there's a mistake, it's always their fault.
That's incredible. How does that work?
That we have a caller that calls, and it's amazing to see people from Japan and Australia and all over the world show up. And I mean, they get up at like 2 a.m.
Oh my
to
goodness.
square dance.
That is incredible.
When it's 7 o'clock here, and it's been interesting. And I've also been following NASA, and I've learned a lot about the Voyager. And yes, I do their Zooms, but and I'm a bird watcher, so I've been following bird watching Zoom. And tonight I was having a little conflict of interest because, well, I was listening to you. I was also listening to the owl having a duet outside my bedroom.
Competition, yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You know, it just reminded me of, I mentioned that festival that I direct in the summer. We invited a bassoonist to give a recital. So it was a pre-recorded recital. And what he did as part of his recital was he scored footage of, I think, a warbler, or I'm not sure what kind of a bird it was, but slow motion video. He scored French horns making the same sounds. I mean, like every time the bird would open its mouth, he would have these French horns playing these chords, and then it would come away. Like when the bird would close his mouth, it was really stunning. I wonder if I could find it.
I'm not sure. I think somebody may have sent me that.
Oh,
video.
really? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's
Find it, send it, because I'm not sure if it's the same one. And
okay.
I mean, the music of birds is as amazing as your music, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
So
an owl does a call and a response. It's real interesting. As they get close, the male start and the female responds.
Mm-hmm.
And as they get closer overnight to match the timing, one will start off then and the other one will join in. And that's when they're about ready to mate.
Oh, so it's a musical sort of seduction.
Yes. And when they both go at the same time, it's like, okay, we're going to have baby owls.
If only it were that easy with people. I did not know that about owls. That's fascinating.
Like I said, if you have that recording, I would enjoy that.
Okay,
Yes.
yes. I will, let me see if I can find it right now for you.
And we are out in the middle of nowhere here. We have no one around us, and I actually have not left my residence since March 17th.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's nice to once in a while know that there's another world out there.
So you get everything delivered? Is that?
Actually, Amazon only.
I see.
We finally, about 2 months ago, my husband was able to go out a couple of times for curbside pickup. And
I
so
see.
so I no longer am having freeze-dried milk and butter and eggs. Good thing I was a backpacker and can appreciate eating this stuff. I just pretended I was on the Pacific Crest Trail for 6 months, and
Yeah. But you're able to get supplies there.
now, I mean, well, not now, because Fresno is one of those areas that's really bad about wearing masks and taking precautions. So
I
we
see.
are very reluctant about going out.
I see. Yeah.
But
Okay.
you know, hey, we do better than many countries. We are pretty lucky to have things like Amazon and all the things that we have.
That is true. Okay, I'm going to put this thing here. So it's part of this, part of their, it's somewhere in the middle of there. It might be towards the end, and he talks about how he does it. And his name is Brad Balliet, and he's obsessed with birds. In fact, we had set up a meeting to talk about his recital, and he said he just forgot about it because he was bird watching. So,
Can you put his name in the link also?
I'm sorry?
Can you put his name in the link also?
Sure. Yeah.
That way, if I can't find it one way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay,
By the
everyone.
way, I am from Fresno. I was born in Fresno, just letting you know.
I'm actually in Madera.
Oh, okay, got it.
It's just that nobody knows where Madera is.
All right, folks.
Sorry
sorry.
to interrupt. Just before hopping out, I just want to say to all of you, Happy New Year's and great happy holidays to all of you. Thank you for being here, and it was really magical. It was really great.
Thank you, Hyejin. I think we'll use this as an opportunity to say goodbye to everyone and Happy New Year. And we will miss you next week. We will miss you. I'm kind of regretting that we decided to take a week off, but we'll get back on schedule the week after that. Happy New Year. Bye.